You decide that you want to go into farming and you want to go and harvest a field of corn. You're going to learn a few things. You're going to learn how to make a seed grow into a corn stalk. You're going to learn how to make a field become a great harvest. The first thing that a farmer needs to do in order to have a harvest on his piece of land, the first thing that needs to happen is that the farmer has to find a way to break the ground. So they have these plow machines or plow tractors and they plow the field. And what happens is that the tractors have these claws and they grab into the dirt and they rip the dirt apart. And they drive over all the dirt over and over and over until the dirt is almost like muddy. But it's all the ground is just ripped apart. And you can see that where there used to be green grass and maybe even some trees, all you see now is broken up ground and dirt, and it's very hard to walk on. I know because I'm a locator, so I'm out in the country, and so when you're walking on it, it's just sometimes it's tough to walk on because there's a lot of swamps around here, but it's wet, soggy, but the ground is broken. The farmer has to break ground in order to achieve having a harvest on that very same ground that he just broke. Or she broke, but he plows the ground and breaks it all apart. And then after he does that, the farmer would take seeds and spread the seeds out in whatever way he does that. And, most likely in a nice row because when the corn grows, it's in lines. And so I don't know if they have a machine for all that, but I know they once the ground is broken, the farmer throws the seeds out onto the broken ground. And once the seeds are thrown out onto the broken ground, what's the next thing that the farmer does? He'll do one of two things. He'll either go and get his water hose or his big water machine thing that they have. I don't know what the name of it is, but you know what I'm talking about? You go to the big fields and they have those metal machines and it sprays the water all over the fields. He waters the ground that he just put the seeds on. Or he will wait for the storm to come and water the ground that he threw the seeds on. And he'll go through a whole season of storm after storm after storm. And during this season of storm after storm after storm, the ground is broken apart. All the green grass is taken away. Now all you see is dirt, and the seeds get thrown onto the dirt, and then the storms start to come through, and it rains. And sometimes when it rains, it is heavy, heavy rain, and sometimes it sprinkles. And sometimes it doesn't rain, and the farmer has to just water it himself. But ultimately, that broken ground that the farmer broke up and threw seeds on and patiently waited for all these storms to go through, ultimately, there's a harvest that comes. A lot of people, a lot of people have had their lives destroyed. The marriages fell apart. They had businesses that have been just gone bankrupt, like we saw with Spirit Airlines this week. 17,000 people lost their jobs. And they did, some of them knew, but some of them went into work to find out that tomorrow you're not coming back to work. And where they saw the green grass, now all they see is dirt and broken pieces of ground all over the place. And what you're supposed to do in that season is not throw your hands up and say, oh man, all that hard work, I worked so hard for that grass to grow just to come back and all I see is dirt. All the grass that was growing in that spot, now all I see is dirt. It's very well possible that the reason that you saw the green grass is gone and all you see is dirt is because the farmer, who is God, is taking all those seeds that you have been collecting and he's going to throw them out onto that dirt. How do you collect seeds? When you feed the homeless, that's a seed. When you give your money to God's mission on this earth, when you donate money to a church or to a ministry or to feeding homeless or to some kind of nonprofit, or you like buy Bibles and you hand them out to people, these are examples of seeds and you're throwing seeds out. When you do good, that's seeds. You're throwing seeds out. So that when that season in your life comes and everything falls apart and the spot that there was green grass growing and now all you see is a bunch of dirt. It's because God, the farmer, plowed over that green grass. And he's about to get ready to throw all your seeds on that dirt. But guess what? Guess what? The harvest does not come the next day. You know what comes the next day and the next week and the next month and the next couple of months? And for a whole season, you know what happens? Storm after storm after storm after storm. And you're like, why does it not stop? Why is it that I keep getting hit after hit after hit? Punch after punch after punch. I get knocked down, I get knocked down, and I get knocked down every time I get up. I get knocked down. Life does not let up. It's because the season you are in is the rainy season. God, the farmer, has plowed your field that you grew that grass on. And he says, I have something better for you. With all the seeds that you have been collecting, I'm going to take those seeds and throw them onto this dirt. I'm going to cause a harvest to happen. But first, you're going to face some storms. It's going to rain. It's going to be bad. There's going to be thunder and lightning. Maybe a tornado is going to touch down. Maybe the rain is going to fall and you're not going to see 10 feet in front of you. You're not gonna understand. Maybe it's gonna be really, really dark. Every time it storms, it's gonna be at nighttime. But those storms are going to help produce a harvest from that ground that was plowed, from the seeds that got planted. God needs the storms and the tribulations and the trials and the pain and the sufferings that you're going through to water the seeds that He planted because of you. You collected the seeds and God threw them onto that broken up dirt ground. And ultimately a harvest comes at the end. And when this harvest comes, we're so happy and we're rejoicing, we're praising God. You know, we go through the valley of life and then we are on the mountaintop. And we're so happy and rejoicing and praising God. But the harvest is cut down and and it supplies us, right? But also it supplies those around us, the community around us. It's meant to be a blessing, not just to us, but to the community around us. God does not bring you to a harvest only for you, but to be a blessing to others. But He allows you to go through seasons in life where everything that you thought was green grass gets destroyed. Just like the green grass gets plowed over and all you see is dirt. But in the eyes of the farmer understands I need this ground to be broken up so that I can plant the seeds and when it starts raining, it will begin to grow something and the seeds can take root. And ultimately, the seeds get to a point of harvest and they bear fruit and vegetables. They bear something good. What season are you in? Are you in the season of life that everything that you thought your green grass was good, and then one day you woke up and you don't see any green grass anymore? You see ruins and destruction. And you're looking up at God and wondering, why me, God? What did I do wrong? You didn't do nothing wrong. You did everything right. And God is saying, I'm going to plant all the seeds on this broken ground so that you can experience a harvest. And when you do experience that harvest, I need you to be a blessing to the community around you when that harvest comes. When I came to Northwest Wisconsin, I tell you the story about the farmer because it relates to what I'm about to tell you. When I came to Northwest Wisconsin, I walked away from a career in Dallas, Texas, where I was going to be a financial advisor. I was, I took the life insurance exam, passed it, so I had my life insurance license. And then I took the side test, which is the entrance level exam, so that you can get sponsored by a financial company and and once you're sponsored then you can start taking all these other tests, but you have to study for the test because and each test has like a thick book that you have to take read and then you take the test. you fail the test twice, then I think you have to wait like 2 years or something. I passed. I passed the initial test. I started to study these other financial tests. And around that time period, God was like, Keith, I want you to give up everything you're working on, go to Wisconsin. I'm going to show you where you need to go, but trust me. And, and he opened up all the doors. And I came to North Wisconsin. I ended up in Phillips, Wisconsin. And when I got here, I lost everything. My entire life fell apart. All my money, my bank account gone, my career was gone. I just every aspect of my life just fell apart. The relationship I had with that one girl, it fell apart. The job I had in the beginning, it was good, but then it fell apart. Just every aspect of my life just crumbled to pieces. And I would be lying if I said I was okay at the time. I was not okay. I put my fist up to God. I was so frustrated because I got to the end of myself and it got to the point where I literally my car I had at the time was up for repo. It was up for repossession. I had a good life in Dallas, Texas. I was making $100,000 a year. I was about to become a financial advisor. I had my life insurance license, and God's like, I want you to walk away from everything, go to Northwest Wisconsin. And I came and lost everything. My green grass turned into just a bunch of dirt. That's what it turned into, a bunch of dirt. And then that vehicle I had got put on the repo list. And I was just like, God, I thought that if I follow you, then I get blessed. But instead, I followed you and my whole life fell apart. And at the time, I was frustrated, man. Like, I'm telling you, I was angry to the point that I put my fist up to God. And I just, one of the most, um, there's just that was a moment in my life I wish I did not have. I put my fist to God. I was so angry and I just went back to Texas. I said something to God. I won't tell you what I said, but I packed up, went back to Texas. A week later, the tow truck came, found me at a gas station. I was sleeping in my car, and the tow truck came and said, "Hey, your car is up for repossession. I'm taking it." And so I was like, I can't do nothing about it. Like, what am I gonna do? Like, screw it. I've already lost everything. So I grabbed my stuff. I grabbed my laptop bag, my gun, and the clothes on my back. And I got out of the truck or out of my car, and I stood there outside that gas station, thinking, what do I do now? That was in 2022 in September. I followed God to Northwest Wisconsin, and I lost everything to the point that I just had the clothes on my back. And I had a storage unit that I threw all my stuff into the storage unit. But but other than that, I got left outside of a gas station with my laptop in my hand. Took my car. And I was like, what do I do? So I look on the Uber app, and that week I made $700 with Uber. So I look on the Uber app, and I knew that you can lease vehicles. So I go in there, and you can get Tesla. So I got the Tesla. I made reservations for the Tesla, and we went the next day. The next day after having my car repoed, I'm driving a Tesla because of Uber's thing that they had. For 3 months, I'm driving a Tesla doing Uber in Dallas, Texas, and I felt like I was at the top of I was on top of the world. But in that 3 month period, God never left me alone about Northwest Wisconsin. There was this building that I would pass by every single day, and it was called Phillips, like home improvement or Phillips improvement or Phillips something. It was Phillips something, and so every day that I would pass by this building, there it just say like Phillips, and I would think of Phillips, Wisconsin. Every single day, Phillips, Wisconsin. It was that's how I started my day for those 3 months. Is thinking about Phillips, Wisconsin. December came around, and I heard that Carvana was they were like on the verge of bankruptcy. And I thought to myself, oh, maybe I can go to Carvana and like apply to get me a car so I'm not driving this Tesla around. So I go to Carvana and I get approved. I got I got my other vehicle repo 3 months before, and I never paid it off. 3 months later, I go to Carvana and I get approved for another vehicle. I never even heard of that. Sometimes though, like God does stuff in my life that like this should have not happened. Well, this car I get approved for it, and when they give me the vehicle, I start looking into it because I want to make sure that that the stuff works and everything. So I'm looking at the car packs, and this vehicle was the last owner was from Minnesota, and so when I saw that, I thought that's kind of weird. What if God gave me a vehicle that is already built to drive on snow? And what if God is giving me this vehicle to get me back to Northwest Wisconsin? And around that time period that I got the vehicle, I started getting like email notifications and indeed from companies that were in Northwest Wisconsin. And they were sending me messages saying, hey, do you want to interview with us? We need somebody to come work for us. And all these different companies were from Northwest Wisconsin, like Park Falls. And there was a company in Southwest Wisconsin. They wanted me to sell life insurance. And I almost went to work for them, but I still had that feeling inside of me like God wanted me to be in Northwest Wisconsin. I just didn't know what for. And so ultimately, God does bring me back to Northwest Wisconsin and give me a place to live. And everything happened in such a way. It was just how everything happened. It was like, it was easy. Like when I came back and all the doors started to open a second time for me to come back to Northwest Wisconsin, it was just easy. And I can't explain it. It was just easy. Well, I ended up coming back to North Wisconsin. Then I found me a job as a utility locator. And this job ends up being one of the best paying jobs I've ever had in my life. So it ends up being so like one of the best paying jobs. And then the boss I had, one of the best bosses I've ever had in my life. And then the job itself, I just became really good at it. And over the next 2 years, 2023 and 2024, and then into 2025, God restored everything I lost. Except, I'm still single, so I never got back into a relationship. I would like God to restore that I lost. And then after God restored everything I lost, restored my finances to the point that like last time I I lost everything in 2022. By the end of 2025, I I, I have a safe now at home. And the safe I have diamonds, gold, and silver and and um and different assets that I bought like a $2 bill from 1938. And so I buy like stuff that like that. And then I have like coffee containers with coins in them, and I throw all the coins inside the coffee containers, and I just forget that I even have it. Just act like I don't have any of it. But God has restored my life. And now here I am, and I'm planting this church. And I'm gonna watch a harvest happen. My life was destroyed, just like the farmer destroys the ground. But he took those seeds and he threw them on that ground. And I went through storms. I went through so many storms. Even when I started to do this, there were people in the community and leaders of the different churches that they were sending people, flying monkeys, to come and attack me and come and try to get people who follow my ministry to turn against me, and it's evil. There's nothing short of it. It's just evil. I speak on what is true, but a lot of these leaders around here, it's a money game. Oh, if we get another church in town, then we're going to lose members. No, you're not. There's enough people in Northwest Wisconsin to fill every single one of these churches to the brim. The church needs to stop thinking that there's a cap on how many Christians are in the city of Phillips, Wisconsin, or in the county of Price County. There's not a cap. There's so many people in Price County that do not go to church. I don't. So I'm in the season now where like that harvest is coming. It's coming. It's gonna get here eventually. But the season took so long to get here. I, a lot of people I say this a lot. People don't know me. They assume things about me. They don't know me. Come and get to know me. Come and get to know my story. I lost everything when I was 19. And then I was homeless until I was 25. I joined the Marine Corps Reserves when I was 22. I was in until I was 28 or until I was 30. Yeah. I was 30 when I got out, I think. It's been a while. But I've gone through a lot of crazy stuff. And so when people come and talk to me about what they're going through is I'm just kind of like, yeah, I believe you. I've been through the same stuff. I've been through a bunch of stuff. I've heard stories. I've heard a bunch of different stories. I've seen things. A lot of ministers across, not even just in Price County, across the entire nation, they 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 grow up in these perfect Christian families, and nothing wrong with that. But they grow up isolated from the truth of how sin can destroy people's lives. But they grow up in these perfect isolated Christian families, and they have on suits and ties, and they go to seminary and they get their masters and doctorate degrees, and then they go get an internship inside of a church, and they climb the church ladder, the corporate ladder, the church ladder, and get to the top. But when they come across someone that is struggling with anger or unforgiveness, or they're struggling with pornography, or they're struggling with, um, you know, drugs, these preachers that are at these pulpits, they don't really know how to help them because they have been so isolated in their own little world that the only thing that they can do is tell these individuals that they bear bad fruit, or that they're not real Christians, or that, you know, you need to accept Jesus Christ and he'll change your life. Sometimes it doesn't work that way. We are human. We are all human. And when you hurt someone badly, some people, it takes them a long time to heal from that hurt. When you're isolated like that in a small little community, you don't experience the kind of pain that someone over here that is doing drugs has experienced. What drives someone to have to turn to weed and alcohol and cocaine and meth? What drives someone to go and use substances like that? The answer is pain, emotional pain, psychological pain. Something happened in their life, either when they were a child or when they were a teenager. Something happened that they never dealt with. And so they turn to drugs because the drug will numb the pain. And it's the only way that they can cope with it. But some of these people, yeah, they have accepted Jesus Christ into their heart. But they haven't figured out how to let go of the pain of the drugs. Some people, they're blessed by God to be like, they come to Christ and they just put the drugs down, right? And other people, they come to Christ, they come and they believe in it and all that, but it's harder for them to war against the flesh. You as a minister, as a pastor of a church, you cannot judge these people, especially in this generation where you got these pastors of churches being indicted for sexually molesting little kids. Or you got pastors of churches that they will block somebody on Facebook because they got their feelings hurt by that person. And so these pastors of the churches, they have unforgiveness in their heart. They sugarcoat it and say, "Oh no, I don't want any division in the church." No, you have unforgiveness in your heart against individuals that have a different opinion than you. You have hatred against these individuals that have a different biblical opinion than you. And that's your struggle. That's what you struggle with. You should accept Jesus Christ as your Lord and Savior, Mr. Pastor. Just like how you tell the drug addict that accepted Jesus Christ as his Lord and Savior, but still struggles with drugs. If it's true for him, it's true for you. This is the generation of the church that, unless you're high and mighty and you have that certificate that says ordain on it, you you can't access the Holy of Holies. How dare you think that you can hear from God? You don't have a piece of paper that says ordain on it. That's the culture of the Church of the United States of America, especially in the Amish community. The Amish community is that way too. They're worse. They like I heard a guy say that if you ride a bicycle in some of the Amish communities, then they won't baptize you. You're disqualified from baptism if you ride a bike. In some of the communities, they all have different rules and regulations. And when will we, just as the church, just turn to this and say, "This is the word of God. I'm gonna live by it. I'm not gonna, you know, try to make it say whatever my Baptist faith says." The harvest will come. Your life falls apart and you think God has rejected you, and the pastor of your church judges you, or the deacons of your church judges you, or people in your church judges you because the green grass that you had is all gone and it's just dirt. Oh, you must have done something wrong. That's what religious leaders will tell you. But the truth is, you must have done something right because the farmer is about to take all the seeds that you've been collecting and he's going to throw them on that dirt, and a harvest is going to come. But you have to be willing to wait through the season that collects all of the storms. You're going to go through storm after storm after storm after storm. And at the end, there's going to be a harvest. And everyone that judged you in the beginning, everyone that judged you and say, "Ha ha ha, see, your life fell apart." No, it didn't. The green grass was plowed because you had a bunch of seeds ready to be buried. The people that were laughing at you because they saw your green grass was now plowed, they will be amazed and angry at you when they see a harvest in that same exact spot that they saw that the grass was now dirt. This is why you do not need to be judging people when they're at the bottom. Instead, when you see someone's life fall apart, step in and help them. Because it's very well possible that a person that their life falls apart all of a sudden, and you see one thing after another, after another, after another hit their life, it's probably because they are about to have a great harvest. So you might want to join them in the beginning when the farmer is plowing and throwing seeds.